Welcome to the Buddha's Boys YouTube channel. It's your boy Stufius with a post-game commentary of a ranked game of Age of Empires 2. So, rocking the Vietnamese, no surprise there. They're the current civ that I'm really trying to get a handle of, and I've been having quite a bit of difficulty trying to learn the civ. This is the first time I have really faced difficulties in achieving success with the civ. But back on Arabia, no more shrubland, thankfully, and we're playing against the Italians. This is the first time I faced the Italians on our ranked game ladder. Oh, okay, I'm really having trouble with this, apparently, for some reason. Yeah, there we go. So facing the Italians, an interesting matchup, two predominantly archer civilizations, so let's see how it goes. So as has become quite a recurring theme on this channel, the first game of the day prior to this one I lost on shrubland against Portuguese. No surprise there. Apparently the Portuguese and the French are the two best civs on that map. Kind of understandable considering their berry bush bonus. So I was down a game, and as usual I'm thinking, oh well, let's at least win the second game and leave it on a win, right? Let's not go to -2 for the day. I had a really good start, or lucky, where I found all of my resources very quickly, and I was able to send the scout to the opponent's base. I was like, there's no point in him being here. It's Chicken Arabia. There's no deer to push. He found all the rest that he needed for the early game. Let's just send him to the opponent's base and just to be there. He's better off being there than being a nuisance in my base. So the map is quite open, too open for my liking, to be honest. And in these kind of cases I decided to go for berries instead of the chicken. Considering there's 8 chicken, probably the objectively better scenario would have been to go for chicken, but I felt like they are kind of in an exposed area, as chicken should be, let's be honest. So I decided to go with berries. I don't think that's too big of a difference, definitely not at this elo. Like, I'm not gonna win or lose games based on whether I go for chicken or berry bushes. So I accidentally found his sheep. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a sheep. By pure accident. I had no intentions of laming him, but you know, it happens. I'm Vietnamese. I know the position of his initial TC. So I decided, like I said, I'm not, like I said in one of the previous videos, I'm not against laming. This happened by accident, but I'm gonna take advantage of it. You know, one sheep, it's not gonna end the game, but it could annoy my opponent to the point where he might get frustrated, which can only go in my advantage. So I was kind of circling. I did the usual stuff where you circle around your opponent's base with a scout. Luckily I knew the position of the TC because I'm Vietnamese. So there was no realistic threat of me losing my scout to the TC. But then again, this is me we're talking about, and I've lost scouts when playing as the Vietnamese, so something like that definitely does have precedent in this game. But I'm just circling to make sure to know where his resources are and all of that. He does attack me here. I clearly was not paying attention, and I saw a hill, so I decided, okay, let's do the dance if he's gonna follow me. So we did the usual scout battle in Dark Age, where we try to win based on who has the elevation. He's on 28, I'm on 29, and I would have gotten another hit. So I was winning the fight. He rightfully backed off there. That was a good decision by him. I'm doing my usual 21 pop with Loom. It seems like that every time I don't go for Loom, I kind of end up having... It messes up. It messes with me a bit. So, second lumber camp, 5 wills, first one 4. There were initially 3, and then I added 1. And then I sent, the sheep was just, you know, roaming around. I accidentally, and this is unlucky. I'm just gonna say unlucky. I sent my scout here. I wanted him to be just outside of the circle. Apparently, I was not paying enough attention, and I clicked him exactly on the line where he was in the range of the TC, who did shoot him once, and I lost my scout. Like I said, just because I'm Vietnamese doesn't mean I'm not gonna lose the scout to the TC. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but it's my mistake. I should have paid more attention. I should have kept my scout further back. It is what it is. That was quite annoying. So what I wanted to do is get to feudal and go for the standard archers. I mean, I'm Vietnamese, he's Italians. I'm expecting archer v archer battle. But just in case he surprises me or something, I decided to send one spearman forward just to see what he's up to. I don't want to go for archers and then get surprised when he goes all in scouts. I want to know exactly what he's going for, and although spearman is an investment that is going to slow down my castle timing a bit, it's not huge, I think, and I think the payoff of where he's going to give me vision, because he's basically my substitute scout now that I rather naively lost my scout. He's basically my scout now. He's gonna give me the intel that I think is more worthy than the resources I had to spend to train him. At the same time, I did go for an archery range, and this was a mistake by me. I sent 4 on gold with the intention of going archers. And then, it wasn't a mistake where I was not paying attention. I knew I had the archery range up, but I started to create archers, and then I saw he already had archers. So I cancelled my archer and went for skirmishers. I decided, okay, I'm a bit behind, even if it's just losing a scout, I'm a bit behind, and going archer v archer, generally, like, I have more HP, he has additional pierce armor. Kind of the same. I really won't be able to tell you which one is better, so I'm just gonna call them even enough, the Italian and Vietnamese archers. And due to that, I assume that whoever has better micro will win. And well, my micro for this elo is probably on the, especially archer micro is probably on the lower end. I probably have a better macro versus micro than the opponents and the opponents I faced at this elo. So I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna go into an archer v archer war, which I'm probably gonna lose. I'm just gonna go for skirmishers and defend with them. I also pulled back the 4 villagers that were collecting gold, because I was like, there's no need for them to collect gold. They collected 250, 200 is enough to go to Castle Age. I don't need gold in feudal since I decided I'm gonna go skirms, wall up, skirms, defend, and see where the game goes in castle. That was the decision I made. I was expecting him to attack my woodlines with archers, and I saw he had fletching, so I decided I'm gonna get fletching. And for a moment I paused and I was like, oh wait, but then I'm not gonna have enough gold for Castle Age. I'm gonna need to send villagers to a rather exposed gold mine. And then I was like, okay, no, never mind. They collected enough gold for a fletching and for Castle Age, which ended up being quite a happy convenience for me. So I decided, okay, I don't need to risk any villagers. I don't need to send any villagers to the risky gold. I can just wall and wait. That being said, my opponent did a great job at attacking my woodlines, which was definitely the correct play to do, considering he probably saw I was walled up, so the only thing that he can reach was the gold mine, and I didn't have any villages on that, and the wood line, which throughout this entire game my opponent did a great job at attacking my wood lines, as you will see, which disrupted me quite heavily. It disrupted me for 2 reasons. First of all, I was on skirmishers. Spoiler alert, I was on skirmishers the entire game, and you need wood, so that's a problem. The other problem is the farms. You need wood for farms. If he attacks my wood line, I'm gonna have a problem with farms. And that's exactly what kind of happened in this game. I get housed, and I go for wheelbarrow, which is not as bad with Vietnamese. I mean, I do have 17, 18 farms, but it's not as bad as Vietnamese because it doesn't cost wood, so it's a cheaper resource than on average with other civs. And also, it trains 100 or researches 100% faster. So I was okay with having an earlier wheelbarrow than what I would normally go for. I sent one skirmisher to his base just to see what he's up to. And then he started attacking this wood line as well. So throughout the mid game, he did a great job at switching between the two wood lines. And honestly, I tried my best to like split the skirmishers, but I think his harass was definitely good. Definitely, something I had difficulty dealing with in mid game. Probably, I mean, you could maybe even justify a tower in this case. It is not something you would want to do, but in these kind of cases, at least like one wood line to have a tower. I mean, I did research fletching, so my tower would be better anyway. I did, unfortunately, cure some idle in feudal age, which, yeah, not what I would like to. But we're up to castle age. Now he's playing the Italians. So the Italians are one of the. I think they're quite a good civ. They have definitely been improved over the last year or so. They received the free buff, which is basically a free Pavis, the former Pavis technology, where their archers in unique unit, I believe, maybe the Connotier as well, get +1/+1 armor for free. It used to be that you had to research it with the Castle Age unique tech. Now they get it for free, which is great, and no complaints there. I think the Italians need the buff. Now I think they're a well-rounded, good civ. Not easy to play, but still good. And yeah, that was unfortunate losing that. I should have paid more attention. I think actually maybe. Yeah, I should have paid more attention. But the skirmisher that I sent here did see an important thing. He saw the archery range being constructed. The skirmisher that died here to the opponent's scout. So he did see a second archery range. So I did my own second archery range and decided, okay, he's gonna just go archers. Let me just go skirms. He's again harassing this wood line, and he's going to. You see, I had to pull villagers from this wood line. Now he attacked this one. I did collect a good amount of wood to get second TC, and I really wanted to secure the gold. So the problem with these new maps on Arabia is that they, if you look at them, on average, most of the neutral resources are towards the middle. So look at this. Okay, this is not a neutral resource, and nor is these are his 2 golds, and this is a neutral resource. But one castle shuts down everything. Like, all of this gold, it shuts it down. Like, almost 9,000 gold, apparently. One castle shuts it down. I was lucky in this game, because despite this being New Arabia, I had a back gold mine. This gold mine is going to be my saving grace in the game. This one was exposed, and you could argue that I just should have walled better and should have taken into consideration that this is my main gold, but I didn't. So the next best thing is, well, adapt and overcome, as they say. I decided finally I can take chicken now, and he did a great job at harassing me. I decided finally to split the skirmishers and start following these crossbowmen and these skirmishers and sending these one back. I was afraid that he's going to switch into knights or light cavalry. I didn't know his eco situation. I was trying to find out by sending that spearman that died to the tiger or whatever it was, to see whether he might try a switch into cavalry. I was afraid he might do that, but we'll see. He hasn't killed. He killed only one villager thus far. He's gonna kill a few more, I believe. The real problem is that he kept pushing me off of my 2 main wood lines, which was definitely annoying. So I decided, okay, my next TC needs to be on a wood line. I don't want it, so I have a hill here, a hill here. It's not good. I ended up deciding to go here for my third TC. So going back to the Italians, I wanted to say that the Italians are one of those civs that are very timing dependent. First of all, they're an archer civ, so they're already a timing dependent civ as it is. But on top of that, they also have cheaper age up, so they don't require they require fewer resources to advance to the next stage, which is quite a good bonus in my opinion. It's kind of like it's nothing special per age, but when you add it up, it definitely when you add it up across all ages, it definitely starts being a good bonus in my opinion. The thing with that is that they can use it, in which my opponent here, I believe he did a good job at doing that. You can advance faster to the next stage and then use the technologies in that age to your advantage. Definitely not an easy civ to play, the Italians, but they do have that power spike when entering a new age quicker than the opponent. Then they can use that, the technology in that new age, to gain an advantage. So I was afraid he ended up coming to a quicker castle age, and I was expecting him to go to Imperial or to advance into Imperial faster than me, but that was a concern for future Eustathius. For now, I was still expecting potentially some knight transition or light cavalry or something, because I'm on pure skirms. Had he went for cavalry, it would have been good for him. Obviously, it's easier said than done, but still, for now, he's attacking with two archer groups. I'm defending with two skirmisher groups, or attempting to defend, and I added a siege workshop. This is something I've been implementing recently. Siege is definitely one of my deficiencies, one of my many deficiencies in this game. But I decided to add it before his crossbows could just kill all of my skirmishers, which would be quite unfortunate. And I decided to go for a university, seeing how I was not really hitting many of those shots on his archers. I left, so I decided, okay, I need ballistics. They're gonna help in the long run, and I also need them here. And I wasn't paying attention here, clearly. Yeah, what I was afraid of, if I leave his army unchecked, it doesn't matter that I have skirmishers, he's just going to win based on raw numbers. I did leave one skirmisher here so that he can spot if any of his crossbowmen go to this wood line again, while I was expanding here. So this turned into the mid part of the game, or the castle age part of the game, kind of turned into who has better micro, in which case I think my opponent definitely shines more than I do. That's the second mangonel I lost for basically nothing. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to be on the defensive. Like I expected my opponent to have a better micro with range units, I expected him to have better micro with mangonels, which I would say probably ended up being the case. He's better at micro, I seem to be better at macro, based on the villager and the idle TC time and all of that. But then I saw the castle. I was not too worried because the castle was not as bad as, obviously you don't want the castle in your face, but it's not as bad as it seems. First of all, it shouldn't be on a hill. Second of all, it kind of covers not a lot. Sure, it's annoying that it touches this gold, but it's not bad. I can still mine this gold for the time being. So it's not a great castle. It does definitely apply pressure. But in the meantime, I started mining a lot of stone, expecting something like that, or actually wanting to. I'm not sure whether I sent him before he started building his castle. I think before, so I was expecting this, and I also saw that the time has come to go to Imperial. Now, I knew he was Italian. I expected him, based on the game thus far, I felt like he had an advantage, that he did decent damage. I mean, he didn't kill... I don't know where I killed two of his villagers, don't ask me. He did kill only 5 villagers, but he did idle quite a lot on my eco where I had... This is my initial base. 1 villager in my initial base. That's interesting. And then I saw him go here, and I thought, if he goes into my unprotected eco, I'm in big trouble. So I sent these 2 villages. I tried to micro this skirmisher back and forth, just so he can be annoying. And I sent this, so he bide like a precious few seconds, while I sent 2 villagers to wall up this area so that his crossbow don't have a free reign into my unprotected eco. And I also bought my way to Imperial, which I'm happy to say ended up being a good decision. I did not know he was imp at the time until he reached it, and I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Italians, faster imp. I felt like I was too far behind. I didn't know at the time that I had better eco. And then I saw this. Now this was a nice find. This is thanks to Town Watch. Thanks to Town Watch, I saw villagers go here, and I'm very happy with this find. Sorry. And then he reaches it, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a problem, because I fully expected him to go for something that's gonna counter my skirmishers. I was expecting cavalry. Now thinking about it, the condottiero would have been a great transition, which kind of goes into that whole timing aspect of the Civ, where the Civ is strong, but it's not easy to play because it has all of these things where how good of a Civ depends on how well you can use the timing. I left 1 skirmisher here so he can give me vision in case he sends additional villagers to finish up the castle. In all reality, I probably should have had more, or should have left more. But this army that was following villagers, this will become very important later. I, on pure accident, looked at this villager, this skirmisher, and saw that he could go through here. So the base was open. So I sent the skirmishers, like, they're not gonna help. I have 56 skirmishers. If I add 9 more, let's just send them to his base, just to be annoying, if anything else. And then I reached Imperial and just started buying all the chemistry bracer upgrades for the skirmisher. In all reality, I should probably have focused on getting the Imperial skirmisher, but I really wanted to defend this castle. Like, really, I would rather defend this castle. So I sent all of the stone villagers, 16 of them, to repair the castle, and I also started training Rattan archers a bit. So why the Rattan archers? I was fully expecting him to switch into either cavalry. Now, when I think about it, Italian cavalry lacks the final armor upgrade, so condottiero would have been, yeah, great by me here. Great job, Eustachius. Condottiero would have been the best switch in my opinion, for which the best way to defeat it, when I'm Vietnamese in this particular case, I would say would have been with the Rattan archer, the condottiero. Yeah, I did lose a lot of skirmishers. This is definitely not the best engagement on my part, but I'm thinking, like, I'm wasting or investing a trash unit against his gold unit. It's good in the long run. And you remember all those skirmishers, those 9 skirmishers that were just stuck chasing his villages? I sent him into his eco, which, to my pleasant surprise, was completely undefended. And I also sent these archers, which killed one of his villagers that build outposts, to this gold mine so I can get him off of gold. I managed to hold, thankfully to repairing, because of repairing the castle. And then these mangonels came in quite handy. They were just outside of the range of his TC, and I finally got the last armor upgrade. His castle falls. I'm still waiting for, I don't know his eco situation, and I'm just waiting for something to happen, for some tech switch. He calls the GG. I guess these raids, I mean, they definitely helped. How much? Well, now looking at it, I killed almost 40 villagers in his base. I don't know. Don't ask me. Don't ask me where or when or how this happened. Prior to this, I had a handful of killed villagers, and now I'm at 41 eco kills. I don't know where that happened, but clearly this raid ended up being more effective than I thought. So yeah, my plan going into late game was reclaim this gold by destroying the castle, because this gold was running out, and I also sent a bunch of villagers, the same villagers that repair the castle, up this way. I wanted to buy, my plan was to buy the castle with the gold that I had, get the castle and take this neutral gold, and also, well, he did actually send some villagers, or at least a villager to finish it, and that one skirmisher, actually no, there were multiple villagers, yeah, they, quite possible that they would have finished the castle despite this skirmisher, yeah, but anyway, this one skirmisher, yeah, he definitely did his job. Who knows, maybe he would have even prevented the castle. I don't think so, but still. So my plan was to stick with the skirmishers as long as he's going for archers, and also add the Rattan archers, because I was expecting him to switch into either cavalry or condottiero, and the Rattan archers or arbalest, that would have been also a good choice, I would say. Those two things would have kind of killed whatever he went for, plus the archers that he currently has. So that was my late game composition idea. Thankfully for me, I didn't need that late game, but yeah, that would be the game. I'm still struggling with the Vietnamese, kind of hovering basically where I started. High 1300 elo or low 1400 elo. There are games where I do manage to, I definitely see improvement in some games, especially by adding siege and going for the whole archer thing, which is definitely something relatively new to me, because all of the other civs that I played in ranked were primarily cavalry civs, so archer civs are still a novelty for me. But yeah, slow improvements, I guess, is showcased in this game. We'll ignore the losses. They never happened. No documented sources. So yeah, they never happened. That would be it for me for today. If you have any questions, any recommendations, any critiques or additional mistakes that I made in the game, which I'm sure I have, leave them in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.